my position or observation on what the MP said. It's absolutely outrageous and even really disgraceful for a politician to stand on a political platform and make such comments to demand for former President Yahya Jammeh to return to the country and be made minister. This is the height of disrespecting the sensitivities of the victims of the former president. This is a president, or this is a former president, a tyrant who killed, who tortured, who disappeared, or who even raped Gambians. What we should be talking about, or what our politicians should be talking about at this moment, is to find ways and means of bringing former President Jammeh to justice before we could start talking about him being made or appointed a minister. Pasamba Jow is my friend, but I don't care whatever issues she has with the leader of the United Democratic Party. But I see, or I find his comments as a Gambian as absolutely shameful. It is about this, what I'm saying, she's my friend, of course, but it's about the victims of the 22 years rule of the former president. It is also about holding politicians to account and making sure that they do not make such outrageous and disgraceful comments, really. These comments were made at the important meeting. Even people, including the tourism minister, were literally begging her not to say some of the things that she was saying. Gambian politics, that is it for you. I'm now joined by Coach Pasamba Jow from the US. We will speak on this and more. Thank you very much, Coach, for joining me.
Thank you, Lamin. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Mara Jawara said, you are somebody who really fought, were part of the struggle against the dictatorship, a terrible regime, if you like. And now you have, just because of politics, you have a political leader a lot of people look up to, saying that the former president should be brought back and made defense minister, just because she has her personal problems with another politician.
Well, it is abhorrent, absolutely disconcerting, and definitely disgusting for anybody, out of whatever frustration that you may have, to suggest that the best person to serve as defense minister, in I don't care in what form it was used, that you will bring Yahya Jammeh, a man on his shadows. We stand today with the creation of the TRRC. Every day, victims of Yahya Jammeh are horrified as they relive their past. The Gambian people are in utter shock every day as we hear about the rape, the torture, the disappearance, the killings, and every unimaginable, unspeakable crime committed under the directives or on the directives of Yahya Jammeh. But you see, Fatoumata Jawara, I have respect for her because of what she went through. I just want her to be very careful in the utterances that she makes. Because Yahya Jammeh is not your petty criminal that you can forgive. Yahya Jammeh is not your, this nasty neighbor that you live with that you can overlook. Yahya Jammeh is a certifiably dangerous criminal who had done so much harm, who poured so much blood, and made so many people. Sorry, Lamin. Am I? Yeah, you hear me? Yeah, yeah. Uh, Created, caused so much havoc on our. You see, Lamin. I'm sorry because I'm using my phone. Somebody's trying to call me. Uh, you see, Lamin, the issue is not only Fatoumata Jawara though. people must stop using Jammeh's name when they are frustrated. If you remember, even Mr. Dabo himself, Honorable Usainu Dabo, I've heard him made reference of Adama Barrow to not make us regret why we got rid of Yahya Jammeh. You see, that to me is very troubling. Because I believe that it doesn't matter how frustrated one could be. Yahya Jammeh is not a reference for anybody. It doesn't matter. You know. So you see, that's, we have to be able to get away from this. When we get frustrated, to use Yahya Jammeh's name. Yahya Jammeh is a criminal, and he must be discarded for the criminal actions that he committed and continued to commit in our country for 22 years. So whether it is Mr. Dabo or Fatmata Jawara or anybody who decides that you're using Yahya Jammeh as a reference to show your frustration as to how Barrow is being opposed or how Barrow is running the government, I think you're making a colossal mistake. And we have to get away from it. Jammeh to me is like Hitler. Yeah.
Exactly. So what do you have to say about, I don't really know what our politics is going to turn into from now against December, because this is clearly going to be a high stakes affair. And I mean, politicians are ready to do anything. You even have our president. I mean, what leader does that? The president standing at a political platform to say, I know political leaders in this country who are dealing with criminals to sell off the nation. I mean, what president does that? If you have evidence, and the president is saying he has evidence, but he's just going to sit on them until the time for politics comes. And you have the president's meeting, people coming there and saying whatever they like to say, and then that's it.
Here's the issue. Adama Barrow is blatantly violating the constitution of the Gambia during his Meet the Farmers Tour. The Meet the Farmers Tour, or Meet the People's Tour, the primary objective behind it has been nothing but to go and listen to the concerns of the people, especially the farmers, and tell them the truth about how you are helping them. But what has happened over time is how this whole issue has now, or this whole tour has been politicized. Because Adama Barrow has now used the farmers' tour with his friend, Ahmad Ba, to go after their political opponents. That was never the objective of the tour. And sadly, though, as Adama Barrow is doing this with Ahmad Ba, our people continue to live in abject poverty because all they do when they go into these villages, they come with these gas guzzling SUVs, bring a lot of dust, a lot of talk that does not inspire anybody, and leave the people behind with their dust and their poverty. So it is important for the Gambian people, Lami, to really choose wisely who their leaders are. And they must also focus on leaders who first would respect the law. Because a leader that does not respect the law would do anything to continue to stay in power. So in essence, what I'm saying here is the rhetoric is very charged. Absolutely unnecessary. Adama Barrow is the president of the Republic of the Gambia. So if Adama Barrow knew that there were people in his government that were conniving to sell our country, and he looked the other way, then who is the problem here? Because the chief defender of the Gambian constitution should be the president. That's where it starts. So if you cannot even regulate that, and then to come out here and say, you know what, just give me time, when election comes, I'll tell you the names, I think it's utter nonsense. And I just want to urge all politicians, not only Adama Barrow, everybody, to understand that the stability of our country is a lot more important than who becomes the president of the country. Whatever that is done politically must be done, and so that even when you come to power, you would be running a country that is stable and people that are able to go about their business. But this, what I'm hearing, especially from these people's with the people's store, is disgusting, disheartening, ridiculous, and I think it needs to stop, and it needs to stop now.
Away from that, let's talk about the IEC. If there is one institution really that all eyes would be on, is the IEC. I mean, this is the institution that is going to be the arbiter. But then, and they were supposed to start the voter registration because they wanted to do this early because, you know, they were, you know, looking at whether there will be a referendum. The draft constitution, when it gets passed, there will be a referendum later this year. So they didn't want these two exercises to clash. They had initially planned to start this as early as next week. But all of a sudden, they abandoned that and said logistical challenges. I mean, we tried to find out what logistical challenges that these people are talking about. They refuse to talk. Pressure piled. I mean, a lot of Gambians criticized them. And today they issued a statement to say, okay, there is a standoff between them and the GPPA, Gambia Public Procurement Authority. What do you make of the IEC in this? Because this is going to be a very, I mean, tricky year, if you like, in politics in the country. What do you make of the IEC?
I mean, the IEC is part of a bigger problem. We are not serious people as a country. It is sad to say this. It is really sad. Because a country would be able to function effectively. The IEC knew for 5 years, the GPPA knew for 5 years that they were supposed to have a general voter registration in 2021. This is not something that just sprung out of somewhere and say, you know, tomorrow we are doing it. And any serious institution, any serious country would have put in all the mechanisms and the logistics in place to make this happen. Here we are talking about a charged situation, 11 months to the elections. Everybody is on everybody's throat. Everybody is scared of everybody. Everybody is insulting everybody. Everybody feels that this is going to be a big problem. And you have the body that is supposed to regulate the elections, to supervise it, to come out and tell us that the single most important thing to do before an election, the registration of voters. Because without the registration of voters, you cannot have elections. That, well, we have logistics problem. Well, we are having a fight with the GPPA or whatever they are called because of the procurement of whatever that we need. It is a joke and an insult to the intelligence, general intelligence of Gambians. And this is something that we should reject. Because definitely, we cannot look at ourselves and call ourselves we are a serious country. No serious country would allow such nonsense to happen. It doesn't make sense. It is inexcusable, and definitely we cannot stand for it. We must not stand for it.
Between the IEC and the president. The presidency last week, I was able to confirm that from the IEC yesterday, that there was a correspondence that was written to them, informing them of the appointment of Mr. Oremi Joyner. I mean, and all of a sudden, there is this huge backlash around Oremi Joyner's, the appointment because he's a member of the NPP, and all of a sudden, the government chickened out and then withdrew his appointment. What do you make of that? This claims, if you like, that there is this bromance or there is this attempt by the president to have the IEC on his side as we head into the December election.
Well, you see, the disrespect that this government has for Gambian people is manifested
in the fact that the appointment of the deputy chair of what is supposed to be the most sensitive and important institution in our democratic system, the IEC, happened 1 week before the people, in fact, knew about it. Why wasn't it announced? Why wasn't it in any headline? It would have been a headline story on all newspapers. Why does it have to be, why did it have to be, kept on the wraps? Until maybe people, he might have, the appointee must have told people tell other people before you know it, that's how it came out. Because what is so important, that such a sensitive appointment was done and shrouded in so much secrecy. That itself is the disrespect that the government has, or contempt that it has for the people. Secondly, I had indicated here that it is important to have people who lead us who respect the law. Adam Barrow and his government had 6 months to consider this appointment. And this appointment is not done in isolation, because the president should do it in consultation with the Judicial Service Commission and the Public Service Commission before they make an appointment. There is a provision in the Constitution that tells you how this appointment is supposed to be made. What qualifies one to serve and what disqualifies one to serve. So after 6 months of that, you come and made this ridiculously erroneous appointments, deliberate or otherwise, only to come back and say, you know what, we are rescinding the appointment because of the uproar that came. We did not know. You should know. That is why we hired you and voted for you. You should know the laws, because that is why we have the justice, the Department of Justice, to what do they call it, to advise you. You should know. You see, the drafters of the Constitution, understanding the importance of this institution that is the IEC. This is why they had it where you're going to consult 2 different institutions before you make the appointment: the Public Service Commission, the Judicial Service Commission. And this is not, oh, my name, I have a name, Lamin Jai, oh, no. It's so that they will do to borrow from Musa Jeng, due diligence, where they would look at the background of this person to see whether the person meets all the constitutional qualifying requirements. But I have been informed that they did not consult the Justice Minister on this to see the legality of the appointment. And I spoke to somebody yesterday who told me that he doubts very much that the Judicial Service Commission was even consulted in the appointment. It is a joke. And as IEC is shrouded in confusion because of the tenure of the chairman. I am one of those who believe that it expired since 2018. But this government has acted like people are not even talking about it. You see, we have to be serious as a people. There is a lot at stake here. We have elections that are coming. Let's do the right thing. And I want to, if I were President Barrow, I'll give you my unsolicited advice. I will select a name. Let me give you an example. One person that I think fits this thing is Hannah Fall, Reverend Hannah Fall. No political affiliation, nothing, if she would accept it. But I will take the name, even though the president has the sole discretion in consultation with the GSC and the PSC. The JSC, sorry, and the PSC. I will go to my partners at the inter-party committee and say, listen, this is the person that I am trying to select, to serve. Go to civil society, this is the person I am trying to select. When you have a consensus, you have a buy-in. It adds to the integrity of the IEC. It adds to the confidence that the people will have in the IEC. But to just do what you want and then come around and tell people, I'm sorry, and we are supposed to clap for you, it's a joke. Let me.
One more thing about the IEC. The issue of them refusing to talk to the media to clear up what really was the problem that triggered this. Because this is a very serious issue. Gambians were anticipating this. They want to get registered. They are looking forward to this election quite keenly. I mean, Now you are canceling that. And now the media wants to find out. Often we get accused, when people say they are lazy journalists, they don't try to find out. But the problem in this country, you go to these people, they refuse to talk to you. And I told them yesterday, I had contacted them. They had agreed to speak to me, only for me to get there yesterday, and for them to tell me, okay, we had a meeting, and we decided that we are not going to speak on this issue anymore until further notice. The press release that they issued, the very task 2-sentence press release that they issued, that was what they said that they were going by. I told them, listen, you are not doing me a favor by speaking to me. You are in fact doing yourself a favor, because it is the Gambian people who put you there. The Gambian people want to know what went wrong, that which stopped them from getting registered to vote, and you are telling me that you are not going to speak on that. So that is not my problem. You are not doing me a favor. What do you have to say about that? Only for them today criticism mounted, and then they issued a follow-up press release, and now officials there are telling me, okay, now they can talk to me.
Well, you see, that's the problem. And this is where we have a problem with this government. And the whole system in itself. There is nothing wrong with being open. Imagine if when the first press release, they had explained to the Gambian people what had happened. But don't come and send us a 2-3 line press release and then tell us, you know what, I owe you no explanation. You owe us an explanation. Without the Gambian people, there will be no IEC. And for people to continue to have confidence in the IEC, at least take your time and talk to the Gambian people. Let us understand what is going on. And that's what it is. Because when you have that, then this whole notion of people feeling that, this government is corrupt would be a thing of the past. This government talks about rumor mongers. But they are the ones that encourage that. Because if people do not have the right information to share with their readership, that's the journalists, if they don't have that, then you left people to speculate, and speculations breeds what? Rumors. Before you know it, rumors will go like wildfire. You may not be able to correct anything, and then you'll start accusing people of publishing false information and all that stuff. Tell the people the truth. That's what we're asking for.
Coach, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Wondering or maybe disappointed in my disposition. But look, journalism has long gone past this simple ABC reporting as it is, and then that's it. Journalism has evolved. Journalism also involves analyzing issues. If you go to other countries, you go to other climes, it is the journalists who analyze issues. It's not because we are biased, or we are doing this because we are not neutral, or we belong to a particular political group. That is not the case. We are not biased. We are not supporting any political party over the other. That is not what we are doing. But we want to break these things down. We want to hold political leaders to account on behalf of the people that we serve. So journalism is just no more about reporting, oh, A, B, and C said this, and then that's it. It is also about interrogating, dissecting, explaining, and analyzing from a detached, not biased point of view. So that is what this job is all about. I know sometimes people who support political parties, they support their leaders, they feel a little disappointed when they see a journalist expressing an opinion or giving an opinion. But if you go to news media organizations, that is what is called editorial. Every news media organization has that. And you know what they do there? They criticize, they look at issues and criticize if there is need to criticize. But that doesn't mean that they don't like that person, or they don't like that political party, or they don't like that particular camp. Far from it. Away from that, we have also seen Senegal has gone into lockdown, and there are fresh fears among Gambians, because today it has been announced that 21 new cases of coronavirus have been registered in the country. And there are fears among the Gambian citizens that the country too might follow the fate of Senegal. More in this report.
President Macky Sall of the Republic of Senegal has declared a state of emergency and curfew in major cities following alarming COVID-19 infection cases. President Macky Sall, in a televised address, announced that starting Wednesday, a daily night curfew